Hello everybody and welcome to the Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. Today I will be talking about Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. I have to tell you that this is not my first face reading encounter with Brad Pitt. Some 21 years ago, Sassy magazine approached me. I don't think that they exist anymore. It was a magazine for teenage girls. So one of the editors of Sassy asked me to do a face reading of 7 most popular young men of that time. Those guys were adored by the teens, and the magazine wanted to inform the girls of what we means myself, and they approached a graphologist, a person who does handwriting analysis, what we thought about those guys as romantic partners. All I remember is that out of 7 of those guys, only 2 were really good guys. Interesting that the graphologist came pretty much to the same conclusions that I did. And I remember that Brad Pitt was not one of those good guys. Now, with 2 extra decades of experience, let's see what I can say about the same man and Angelina Jolie, and both of them as a couple. Looks like a beautiful couple with a lot going on. The children, biological and adopted, the movies, Along and Together, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, famous duo. Here they are. Oh yeah, one more personal note. When I started doing this series, Face Reading for Successful Relationships, if you remember, I started with Prince William and Kate Middleton. My next choice was Angelina and Brad, because they are such a famous and attractive couple, but I decided not to do it. And the reason was because I could see that from morphological perspective, they were not such a good match. And I did not want at that time to be negative about the relationship that seemed to work, though it did surprise me that it worked. So what made me think that they were not a match made in heaven? Well, one thing is following the script and playing in a movie or putting up a show for the public view. The other is making it work in day-to-day life. Remember, the opposites balance and enrich each other. The sames complete each other somewhat, but on the other hand also compete with one another and make it quite difficult for a relationship to work, particularly the sanguine ones, which is the case with this couple. Look, basically both are sanguine. The tilted forehead, protruding chin, the almost 90-degree jaw corner. So both are impatient, both are impulsive, both require attention and admiration. Remember, the animal, excuse me, the animal archetype of the sanguine temperament is a lion, the king. You may say, well, he is the king, she is the queen. Yes, but the real king is the leader, and the queen has a powerful but quite a different role. With the 2 sanguine temperaments in a couple, both compete for the same throne. They are, of course, different people, and she is a woman, he is a man. And you will see, even as sanguine temperaments, they are still different. You can see that Angelina is more of a typical sanguine. The angularity of her profile shows that temperamentally she is really a perfect sanguine. So she is more generous. She's kind of an exaggeration of a sanguine. More generous, more action-oriented, more fun-loving, and also more of a leader than her partner. Everything he is, she's in a pure form. Yet Brett is a man, and I assume through his man's ego, he has an equally strong desire to be on the throne. Once we're looking at the profile, there is a couple of things to notice here about them, and that I want you to look at the ears. Look at the blue arrows. You can clearly see that her ears are larger than his. In fact, they are simply proportionate to her head size. Not too big, not too small. His ears are small for the size of his head. That tells us that she is independent, as sanguines usually go, but he is prone to be influenced by the outside, by pressures, opinions, trends, suggestions, and so on. And now look at the green line going from the ear on both photos. As you can see, his ears have this tilt back, but they are on the same angle that is his forehead. That is, the red line is parallel to the green line. Look at the tilt of her ear. See the pink line? It follows the ear and it is significantly more tilted back than the forehead. Remember, the more the ear is tilted back compared to the forehead, the more spontaneous and or impulsive a person is. Which tells us that not only Angelina is more independent than Brett, but she also acts more spontaneously on her independent thoughts and feelings. Imagine how it is for more calculative and cautious Brett to live with it. Remember, she is the true king. She does not only make spontaneous decisions for the whole family, perhaps. She acts upon them. One of the interesting features, before we go on to faces and personalities, I want you to look at the eye colors. Angelina has hazel eyes, meaning that she needs a lot of personal space and independence. The same that we learned from looking at her ears. And his eyes are pale blue, meaning detachment. That is how possibly he deals with her impulsivity, by detaching himself and letting go of the need to be the king and to impose his will. So, and it works, but cannot work for long. So Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, their personality, or what Greeks called the mask. Their faces are also the same. Both are Mars. And we know that Mars is a god of war, so both are willing and ready to fight. Neither has the patience to go into details, wait for another person's opinion, cares much for the other person's feelings. And both want things to be done for them without questioning and right now. Once again, you can see the difference in their ears, green arrows. The ears are far from the skull on the picture, on her picture. You can see they're much further from the skull than Brett's ears. So she's definitely more independent and follows the beat of her own drum. But look at the straight across eyebrows that Brett has. He's stubborn. So though he is influenced by the outside, once he gets an idea, it's hard for him to yield unless he is impressed by yet another idea. Otherwise, it has to be his way. But remember, he has another sanguine Mars for a wife, and his stubbornness does not go well with her. And finally, look at their lips. Remember, our lower lip is the relationship we have with ourselves, and the upper lip stands for the way we relate or share with the outside world. Look at the blue line. I put it there so you could see that Angelina's upper lip and her lower lip are balanced. And Brett's upper lip is disproportionately thinner than the lower lip. That tells us that he has a rich inner life, but does not communicate with the outside world. That goes with his pale blue eyes, detachment. It shows us that the guy is running his own show, but not in the open, like the impulsive and all out there Angelina. But on the inside, building up his feelings, ideas, likes and dislikes. And then with his stubbornness, the eyebrows, remember, insists that he is right. You know what they say about relationships. A successful relationship is not the one in which people keep staring at one another. but the one in which both are looking in the same direction. Well, these two are looking in the same direction. Each is looking to get his, her way. Are they good people as individuals, not as a couple? Of course. The sanguine temperament, as you know, has great qualities and would work very well with the nervous temperament. Even with the bilious, with the same characteristics of willfulness and the desire to succeed, some adjustments would need to be made, but it could still work. And for sure with the lymphatic temperament. But with another sanguine, is it possible for two kings to sit on the same throne? And I will leave you with that question. And that's all for this couple. Thank you very much for being with me today. Peace to all.